The storm came fast and wild that night. Rain lashed against the cracked windows of the old biker bar, thunder rumbling like an angry god in the distance. Inside, the dim lights flickered over leather jackets, beer mugs, and faces hardened by life. The air was thick with the smell of smoke and gasoline. Then, without warning, the door burst open, slamming against the wall with a crash that silenced the room. A little girl stood there, soaked to the bone, trembling, her hair plastered to her forehead. In her tiny hands, she clutched a faded pink backpack to her chest like it held her entire world. Her voice broke through the stunned silence, thin and desperate. "Please, someone help me. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and doing the right thing even when life is rough, please take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel." These stories survive because good hearts like yours keep them alive. Every head turned. The rough laughter died out, the pool table went silent, and even the jukebox seemed to pause mid-song. The girl looked impossibly small against the backdrop of roaring engines and inked arms. One of the bikers, a mountain of a man named Hawk, set down his beer and rose slowly. His boots echoed on the wooden floor as he crouched down, his voice softening. But the girl couldn't stop shaking. Her lips quivered as she whispered, "They took my mommy." The words hit the room like lightning. She was no older than 7, drenched, scared, clutching that pink backpack like it was her last piece of safety. Hawk guided her inside gently, while another biker, a woman named Roxy, grabbed a blanket from behind the counter and wrapped it around her shoulders. The bartender, an old man named Gus with silver hair and tattooed arms, watched with narrowed eyes. He had seen many strange things in his bar, but never a scene like this. Lily, that's what she said her name was, could barely speak at first. She coughed, trying to catch her breath, and pointed toward the dark road she'd come from. Between broken sobs, she told them that she and her mother had been living in their car for weeks after her mom lost her job. They'd been trying to reach her aunt in another town. But at a gas station a few miles back, a man had approached them. He said he knew her mom from before, and her mother's face had gone pale. She told Lily to run, to hide. But before Lily could even move, the man had dragged her mother away toward a black truck parked behind the station. Lily had run. She didn't know where, just ran through the rain, crying for help until she saw the glowing neon sign of Gus's bar cutting through the night. The bikers exchanged looks, silent but deadly serious. These were people who'd lived rough lives, who knew what darkness looked like when it stared back. Hawk knelt in front of Lily again and told her softly that they'd help. She shook her head, clutching her backpack tighter. He said if I told anyone, he'd hurt her. The words made the bar colder. Gus picked up the phone, but something in the girl's eyes stopped him. Fear, pure and raw. Instead, Hawk told everyone to gear up. Engines roared to life one after another outside. Jackets zipped, helmets snapped into place. They didn't wait for police or promises. They rode for the truth. Lily stayed behind with Roxy, who dried her clothes by the heater and made her a cup of cocoa. The little girl's eyes never left the window. Her backpack stayed beside her the entire time, unopened. When Roxy asked what was inside, Lily only whispered, "Something for Mommy." Meanwhile, out on the road, the bikers split up across the county, riding through pounding rain, scanning gas stations, motels, and rest stops. Hawk led the main group down Highway 9, his headlights cutting through sheets of rain. He couldn't stop thinking about the terror in Lily's eyes. 2 hours passed with no sign of the truck. Then, just as hope began to dim, one of the riders, tiny, a giant of a man with a heart just as big, radioed in. He'd spotted a black truck behind an old sawmill on the edge of town. The group turned around and sped through the night like a pack of wolves. When they arrived, the mill looked abandoned. Broken windows, rusted gates, and silence. Hawk motioned for everyone to spread out. He could hear faint cries coming from inside the building. Heart pounding, he followed the sound and found a woman tied to a chair, bruised but alive. It was Lily's mother. The man who took her, Travis, was nowhere to be seen at first, until a shadow moved from the corner, lunging at Hawk with a metal pipe. The fight was fast, brutal, and fueled by rage. Hawk blocked, countered, and disarmed him with a single bone-deep punch that sent Travis sprawling. By the time the police arrived, tipped off anonymously, Travis was in cuffs, and Lily's mother was safe. The bikers vanished back into the night, leaving only the sound of engines fading into the distance. When Lily's mother, Sarah, walked into Gus's bar hours later, her hair still damp, she didn't need to say a word. The moment Lily saw her, the little girl dropped her cocoa, sprinted across the room, and threw her arms around her mother's waist. The entire bar fell silent again, but this time it was a silence filled with relief. Sarah sobbed as she held her daughter, whispering thanks through tears. Then Lily looked down at her pink backpack. With tiny, careful hands, she unzipped it and pulled out what was inside. A few pieces of crumpled paper, some crayons, and a small music box, old, scratched, but beautiful. She opened it, and a soft lullaby began to play. This was Mommy's favorite song, she said, handing it to her. I wanted to bring it so she wouldn't be scared. The sound filled the room, soft and haunting. Even the toughest bikers in the bar turned away, pretending to check their drinks as tears welled in their eyes. Sarah hugged her daughter tightly, her voice trembling as she thanked everyone again and again. Gus simply nodded, swallowing hard. You don't owe us anything, ma'am, he said quietly. You just get her somewhere safe. Days later, word spread about what had happened. Locals started calling Gus's bar the Angel's Den. It became a small legend in town, a place where rough men with tattoos and leather jackets turned into protectors when a child cried for help. People who had once crossed the street to avoid the bikers now stopped by to shake their hands. And in the corner of the bar, right behind the counter, Gus pinned one of Lily's crayon drawings. A picture of her, her mom, and a group of bikers with angel wings, standing under a bright yellow sun. Months passed, and every now and then, Sarah and Lily would visit. Lily had started school again, and her laughter filled the place like sunshine. The bikers would spoil her with stories and let her sit on their motorcycles, her pink backpack still always by her side. One day, Hawk asked what she carried in it now. She smiled and said, "Just my lucky things. Mommy says it reminds us of the night the angels rode out of the rain. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that kindness still exists even in the roughest hearts, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to help spread stories that touch souls and restore faith in humanity. Your support keeps these real human moments alive." Before we end, tell us in the comments below. What would you have done if that little girl ran into your place begging for help? Would you have stepped forward like Hawk and Gus? Your answer might inspire someone to act when they see someone in need. That night, long after the lights in Gus's bar went out, the faint melody of Lily's little music box still played in his mind. It was a sound that reminded him, and everyone who heard her story, that courage doesn't always come in size or strength. Sometimes it comes wrapped in a small pink backpack, carried by a little girl brave enough to run into the dark and ask for help.